So, Tina, do you feel great about where we're going to go first here today? Our stimulus. I mean, they really came through for us. This is I think if you could just sum up what's going on today in one tweet, I think this nails it. Check this out. Your federal government at work. CNBC, Congress agrees to a COVID stimulus deal. Here's who will likely get a $600 check and when you'll get it. Right below it, The Hill, just in. Congress to approve a $1.375 billion border wall in 2021. That's your government at work, folks. That is your government at work. It is beyond. It's not even a parody at this point.
No,
it's worse than that. So here. Let's get into the meat of what's going on. Congressional leaders reach an agreement on a COVID economic relief package. Congressional leaders Sunday reached a deal. It includes $600 direct payment to Americans and $300 in enhanced unemployment for the next 10 weeks. The $600 checks will go out to individuals who made less than $75,000 in 2019 and couples who made less than $150. Not 150,000, literally $1.50. They really hate you, folks. Your government really hates you. So that's where and then
that's where we're headed. Let's be honest.
Right, no kidding. Well, I just said, I was like, Congress has reached a deal, and I am excited for the Jiffy Lube coupon. I mean, we all haven't been driving as much.
Dude, I'm gonna throw a pizza party with my $600. I don't know about you.
There you go. Yeah, I'm gonna invest in some pitchforks and guillotines. That's what I'm gonna do. It's so ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous. I mean, you can't even pay rent on that in Tennessee, let alone LA. What are they thinking?
It's like almost rent for a little bit in a country where we have gotten a one-time $1,200 FU payment. And now we're going to get $600. And by the way, here's another thing. Just in case you thought they didn't have any holiday spirit, they have a little bit. Dependent children will be receiving $600 this time rather than $500. You got a kid? Here's an extra hundo. We love you.
Do you know the stupid part of this, Ron, is that the reason they did it is because they have the realization that folks can't pay their bills, so the landlords aren't getting paid their rent, the landlords aren't paying their mortgages. There's this whole house of cards that's going on, right? But $600 isn't going to change a damn thing, and nobody's going to use that money to pay rent because it's not enough. They might as well keep it and do something fun with it.
My buddy Rick Overton tweeted this out. He's like, the only entity that the $600 really helps out is the people dishing it out. This was kind of, I mean, that's my buddy Rick Overton. Follow him on Twitter. But yeah, this was like,
he's right.
This was people have been describing this as the let them eat cake moment. That's completely what this is. And
it's a very small let me eat cake. It's like the little violin, but a cake.
It's like a sliver of cake. It's like when somebody asks for a piece, but they don't really want one. Hypatia really agrees. She is really upset. She's like, this is not right. Hypatia is like,
Hypatia, come here. Say hi.
Hypatia is barking for a people's legislature. That's what she's doing. She is saying it's time to impeach the entire federal government. It is time to fire every single one of them and to just start over with a people's legislature. Which, by the way, I am totally for at this point. I know.
Yeah, I am too.
Like I'm just at that point. And I know that what I'm calling for something like that is insanely intense, and it would have a ton of problems, a ton. But it would not be shittier than what we have now. It just wouldn't be. It just wouldn't be. It would just cut out the middleman. Instead of Wall Street having a middleman defend them in the guise of a corporate coup federal government, we would just have to head off with Wall Street directly. That would be the only difference. We'd be better off. We'd be better off with a people's legislature. And we only need half the country to give a fuck. That's all we need.
Exactly. But why can't we get even that, though? What I don't understand about America right now is the 1%, the plutonymy, continues to extract your wealth, and they hand you a Peasley $600 check, and you're still not out in the streets. There are people defending this. I don't get it from both parties.
I don't see how anyone's defending this at all. I mean,
don't either, but they are.
This is a slap in the face, and it really,
I mean, the trickle down's not coming, people. It's not coming.
I mean, let that sink in. Let that sink in where trickle down is too much to ask for. Like they're not even, and what I mean by that, I mean, obviously we know trickle down has failed many times over, but they're not even continuing the facade.
Right.
By actually giving people something that's in the realm of human dignity.
Yeah.
And by the way, they're not giving anything. They're not upholding their end of an agreement. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
That's what they're really doing. And so here's another thing I wanted to point out in the article real quick. So the eviction moratorium continues, which is a good thing. It only goes until January 31st.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do they think is going to change? And they're evicting people anyway because there's loopholes.
That's right.
So they're evicting. Now, here's the thing, and I tweeted this out yesterday. Even though there are loopholes, which is disgusting, there's still a very good chance if your landlord is trying to evict you, they are breaking a law somewhere. Like they are breaking some law somewhere. There's a good chance that they are. So you really need to not leave your freaking house. And we are at the point where it's like communities need to come together. I mean, it's similar to what happened in Portland, where they were just like, "You're not evicting this person." So
I was actually just at a rehoming of an eviction 2 nights ago, Ron. I need to post a video, but there's a organization here in Los Angeles called LA Voice that's been helping rehome folks that have been evicted, and this family was evicted last week. Who does this a week before the holiday? You're evicting an entire family. The son now has COVID, and I'm sure that wouldn't be the case if they had not been evicted. And the guy, I did some digging into who owns the house, and it's one of these shockers. It's called Trojan Capital Investments. This guy's name is Don Madden, and he has been buying distressed real estate with hedge fund money all over the country, houses, not apartments. And this is what they're doing. And I found 2 other LLCs that the guy had on the Secretary of State website that were FTB forfeitured, which means FTB stands for Franchise Tax Board. So that means that at some point, the LLCs were forfeited for non-payment of taxes. So he ends this one and he just starts another one and carries on with what he's doing.
And what's the name of it again? What's the name of the company?
So this particular one is Trojan Capital Investments.
You have to be a villain if that's the name of your company.
Oh wait, it gets better. His other one is Trinity. He's a Christian.
Trinity. Oh, of course he is. Of course he is. Trojan. And Trojan is condoms. That's supposed to be protection. What he's doing is the opposite of protection. Hey, I'm gonna name myself after condoms in the name of housing and security. Oh, and of course, what would Jesus do?
Right.
Are you?
I know. It's frightful.
You know what Jesus said? He said, "Pay the rent." That's what he said.
Yeah. He also said, "Don't pay your taxes and get your LLC forfeited to the California State Secretary of State." I mean, this is crazy.
That was also him. Yeah, I remember that. I've read the Bible once because YOLO.
Anyway, this is really tragic. And, they rehomed the house 2 nights ago and the police have already showed up to evict her again because,
Because they're cops.
And because they're cops and these landlords are pieces of shit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the reality.
It's remarkable. So they've extended that until January 31st, even though people are getting evicted anyway. What do they think is going to happen after January 31st? Where do they think the $600? I mean, I think they are so out of touch. I think that they think $600 covers rent in a lot of places. They think. I think they truly believe that. That's how out of touch they are.
And the worst part is all these folks owe back rent. So they're going to be required to not only pay this month's rent, but the $15,000 in back rent that they owe. That's not going to happen.
There's I saw an article the other day, like a huge percentage of Americans, it's over like $5,000 that they owe in rent at this point. What is $600 going to do?
Nothing. Which is why the entire purpose of it is ridiculous. Nobody's going to use $600 to pay back rent. It's not going to make a ding. They're going to get evicted anyway. So they're going to take the $600, either save it, buy groceries, have fun out, whatever else. But they're not going to use it to stop the house of cards from crumbling. Put a pitchfork in capitalism.
I mean, yeah. I mean, and don't get me wrong. I'm glad people are getting groceries. I'm glad for that. But this is, I mean,
but even that $600. I mean,
right. It doesn't go far when you've been food insecure for a year. I mean, this is
bad.
It's not even. I mean, The Onion couldn't write this stuff. Like it's like, how do you like this is just such a colossal failure. And it really bothers me at this point when you see people in the media and you see people, even on YouTube or wherever else, taking this system seriously still. Yeah. It's a scam. This system is a scam. You know what the United States is? Remember when the internet was really just getting started and you would see these insane spam ads that would pop up, and God knows what happened if you clicked them. I don't know anyone who actually clicked one of those things. I think if you did, you just got sent to this matrix of weird porn. I don't know what would happen.
Or a virus.
Or a virus. But if one of those ads somehow formed a civilization, that's the contemporary United States. That's what we are. We are the MySpace spam ad of the world. That's what we are. I mean, that is what we are.
Raise your hand if you had a MySpace page.
Oh, I'm raising my hand. Yeah.
Or Friendster.
Friends, I never got on Friendster. And and to any Zoomers watching the show today, you'll have
what are you talking about?
You'll have to Google some stuff later but I mean, I don't know. The gist of the analogy is this country's a scam. That's the gist of it.
It's a total scam at this point. And every time somebody tries to make one of these arguments about free market, it's like, no, we don't have free markets in this country. Capitalism isn't a free market system. Stop calling it that. It's rigged to the capitalists.
It's rigged to the capitalists. And people also have this fantasy. And this gets into what we're going to announce later, because this is part of the reason we're doing what we're going to do. People have this fantasy that markets don't exist without capitalism, which is
why do people believe that? That's such a ridiculous notion. Like, there were no markets before the 19th century. Is that really the case?
People just never exchanged anything. It never happened. There was never a unit of measurement referred to as money. Oh, except there totally was. I mean, all of the most ridiculous, and this is what we're going to get at, like all of the most ridiculous, and especially, I get it all, like whenever I tweet about capitalism, there is inevitably somebody who thinks that they cracked the Da Vinci Code, who will tweet at me and say, oh, so I guess the tickets to your shows are going to be free from now on. And they think like they got me. And it's
that's so ridiculous. I know, right? Or the folks that say like, well, then you're not going to buy an iPhone, are you?
Yeah. My God.
Those things exist without capitalism. You know that, right? Or the people that like Ted Cruz the other week when he was talking about the vaccine, how that was capitalism. And I'm like, actually, the German government financed most of that research. And then you could go back to things like the polio vaccine, even that was also government research. None of this has to do with capitalism.
Yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's just like, look, in societies aside from capitalism, people get paid for their labor and their work and their craft. Like, that's just how it works. In fact, and honestly, if you want to use a performing artist as an example, in other countries that are less capitalistic than the United States, performing artists get taken care of better because the government actually funds the arts and stuff. If you know any musician who tours around the world, ask them what their favorite country to play is, and I would bet you anything you are not going to hear one person say the United States.
Exactly.
Unless that's the only place they've toured. You will not hear one person say the United States. In fact, most people that are based in the United States, they got to go to other countries to make a living because they can't make a living in the United States. So they got to go to other countries. It is tragic. And even though there's a ton of travel costs involved, they still do better over there because they actually treat performing artists a lot better because they get funding. So they're able to feed you and give you a place to stay, and they're able to pay you fairly. Anyway, that's a whole other. That's a whole other.
Hypatia agrees.
Rabbit hole. Hypatia totally agrees. Hypatia is barking about some killer shows that she has seen in a punk squat in Milan, Italy. And
now she's got the neighbor going.
Now she's got the neighbor going because the neighbor was at that same punk show.
Exactly.
Because they bring their dogs to those. People bring their dogs to those types of shows. So Hypatia has a past life as a punk rocker.
She does. She's a fan.
Hypatia was really into the Milan basement scene in like the late 80s. And she that's actually some of the stuff I dive into in Lucy and Ron. Like there's some Lucy and Ron comics where like Lucy used to hang out with Danzig and Madison, and she tells Ron stories about it. Those are a little more niche than the rest.
Now all
of them.
the Zoomers are going to have to look up Danzig.
They know Danzig.
They know Danzig?
Yeah, I mean the original Misfits toured this year, so they know.
They
Danzig.
did.
Yeah. I caught the show.
Attention.
Oh, you missed it.
All right.
We, my wife and I caught the show in Los Angeles. Nice. They played it in downtown. It was good. I mean, you could tell they were kind of like just trying to get through it, maybe a little bit. Yeah. But it was. I mean, it was good, and they played almost everything. I mean, they even played Bullet, which I was not expecting Bullet, so I was thrilled when they freaking played Bullet. And
nice.
And I kind of just turned to my wife and I'm like, I'm glad I got to hear almost everything I would want to hear because this is probably going to be a one-time experience. I doubt I will ever see the original Misfits again. I think this is it. I don't know if they'll ever tour again, but I got to see them. I got to see Danzig sing the Misfits, which are his songs, and that's awesome.
Hypatia's a fan of that too.
Well, she's so pissed she missed that show. She's like, Mommy, why were we not at that show? Why did you not take me to the Misfits show? They have to tour again next year. She's barking loud enough that she's hoping Danzig can hear her because he used to live in your neck of the woods. I don't think he still does. He might.
He did. Oh yeah, you know who lives here is Zach De La Rocha from Rage Against the Machine. So like I see him at the gas station and stuff.
So she's barking at him to make sure that they do that reunion tour again. She wants Rage.
Exactly.
Because they were going to tour this year, but
I'm a big fan of that. So
I'd love to see them. They were going to tour this year, I think, but then the COVID put an end to that. So
yeah,
I don't know if they're still gonna. I mean, I'd imagine they might. I don't know. Hopefully they do.
Hope so.
Anyway, your government's a scam.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and